Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Farm Sim 19, Last Frontier, episode number 13. Will we be lucky today, or won't we? Well, we'll find out here in a moment. It's late in the day. It's a day we've had at times one speed throughout. We have done so much in this one physical game world day. We're only, 2.5 days into the game, and yet it feels like it's been at least a year in game. So used to doing seasons and time working very differently than it does here. But anyway, the one thing we need to get done, and soon before the crop destruction becomes a thing, is we're going to do a little early evening crop dusting. We have so many weeds plaguing our fields horribly bad. So we're going to make our one down a back pass that this field allows without wasting additional resources. We end up missing a very small percentage of it, but this is so close to getting all of it. And then we've got to go hit up the other field as well. And that's it. That is the work, finally, for the day done. We've done the harvest, we've done our replanting, and we are, like we mentioned last time, we are not going to plant a field on 25 yet. There's so much money in the silage harvest that it's not worth it. So we're going to keep that going for now, especially while we lack the big equipment to run multiple fields at the same time. And speaking of the big equipment to run multiple fields, well, besides getting to the morning and doing our harvests and, going through that big process again, that is the next target regarding our finances. So we have $140,000 now, which is awesome. Because like I said, buying that field took almost everything we had. We had $10,000 left, and we've already not only recovered all that we spent to buy the field, but came out $40,000 ahead, and we still haven't actually even used up all that there was. Now that the field is totally clear, the next harvest is going to be even easier because we don't have the trees in the way. So I will absolutely do another grass harvest or two before I would bother turning those into fields. And I will 100% have those upgraded equipment prior to converting that into a farm field. Now, that next goal, that next target for me is going to be a large tractor. There's so much that gets bogged down in this series because I only have a single tractor and it's a small one. So my target is to bypass getting something slightly bigger. This has 150 horsepower. I'm going to bypass a small increase, and I want to get something that's a significant step up. And I think finances-wise, especially with nothing else to invest in short term, that being the next target, I can make that happen. You can get one for about $270,000. We might get to that point where there could be an extra add-on or two that we want. So when I get to 270, I'll take a look again and see if there, if that is worthwhile to get one kind of right at 270, or whether we'll want to add some upgrades, or which tractor it is we want, and do that real direct comparison. But we're somewhere between 270 and 300,000 to get that massive upgrade and get a second tractor. And I am not selling this one. That will not be part of the deal. So that is not money I can count in. For one thing, this tractor has so many hours on it. It's so worn down that there isn't anything to gain there anyway. But for another thing, I need to have multiple tractors. There's so much that can be done on the farm via Courseplay, and this tractor, at least some of the equipment, like this exact equipment that I have on board right now, can still be done with this smaller tractor. No issues. But anyway, so short term, we are saving money. We are saving up for a large tractor. And like I said, it's going to cost us somewhere between $270,000 and $300,000. Alright, we are now at that point, no longer getting it all. We're also close enough that I don't think it's really worth it to come back and place the herbicide on that patch at the edge. It's a little wider here, so I might do just a single pass this direction, right here at the edge, get what we get, call it good. It's tempting to get that a little bit, but no, it's okay. Wait, that's around the lake. There we go. I think one thing that revealed though was 27 looks pretty wide open. I haven't really been out there into 27 to see. I have to go inspect, as you know, that might be the natural way to progress from where we are now, owning 25 and 26. And it could be maybe a wise move to add one more field, because if we have two giant grass fields plus the couple farm fields and it's all interconnected, that's what, 280,000 in one harvest of those two fields plus the two farm fields. That would be over 300,000, meaning we would have the 300,000 we want by the end of tomorrow if we did 25, 26, and 27. But I'm done for the night. It's getting dark. I am not going to do that tonight. So I'm going to park this up and head to bed, and I'll see you in the morning. Good morning, folks. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Just about 5:30 in the morning, and we're going to have another busy day ahead of us here on the farm. Let's go ahead and have a seat, and we'll take a little eating break while we check the status of everything for this morning. So it looks like the grass harvest is ready to go once again. And meanwhile, we're in the final growth stage of our north and south 26 fields. So I think that means we're going to open with a grass harvest on 25. And then we'll go from there. Weed's good, other than the little patches, a couple little patches we left intentionally, but that's much better. Still have no lime, so lime is definitely something at some point we need to get into. Also, the increased fertilization, as definitely not getting all the way to what it could be. We're doing okay. And as for plowing, we're okay with plowing for now. That's good. What did we do this time? Canola. And what was that? Oats? Or is that soybean? I think that's soybean. Yeah, canola and soybean. I think we're going to be cycling back as we don't have the right stuff to do anything else. So we'll go back to kind of a wheat and barley harvest most likely. Yeah, let's get to it. I think our breakfast is done, and we have one piece of equipment left out in the field that I definitely like to turn my flashlight on before I turn the lights off here in the house. I probably need a potty break. It's early in the morning, but I haven't had my coffee yet. I'm going to come back for my coffee later, and I'll risk the potty break then. That outhouse, it's too much. It is way too much. Anyway, we have a single piece of equipment still out in the field. It is the stump grinder. And so we'll go ahead and pick that up, put that away, and then we will get started on the grass harvest. By the way, I just recently started up 2 new series in the past week. Snow Runner has a lot of connections to this series. Which way are we going with you anyway? And has been a popular startup here on the channel. So if you haven't seen the Snow Runner series, do check it out. A lot of similarities, relaxing gameplay like this one. Just that one's focused more on difficult driving scenarios. There we go. Alright, now the where to start thing, I'm not going to bother with a couple of the areas I got last time, like right here to my right. We're going to pass the shed and go around that rock formation and just get the main field area. Oh, excuse me. So that will lower things slightly on the output. Oh, there's the rock formation right there. We are just slightly off our line. There we go. Go a little bit quicker here so we can get some sunlight, as we are very much working in the dark right now. Kind of thought we'd be early dawn. We're still pre-dawn. Okay, where's that tree formation? I can see it just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. But we're definitely going to go with some less harsh lines this time as we make our way up. We already know that it pays well. We don't need to get every ounce of grass for that to pay off for us. If I end up getting 130 instead of 140,000, if I save a lot of time by easing the process a bit, then I think it's worth it. Okay, so far so good. Okay, now we gotta watch out for that tree formation right in front of us. And I can see it coming now. Just around it. And then ease around our current field as well. Not getting too close. Definitely see that canola is getting quite close to done though. Did I just find something? I did! Hey! We got a stump. Alright. Well, we'll make our way around this one and then I'll have to remember to get that stump grinder and get out here and grab that. Anyway, as I was starting to say, before I bother too much with too many field expansions, there's a couple things I want to keep in check. I mean, obviously I want to get the big tractor. That's all coming first, but this is going to be kind of what's to follow. More long-term plan as opposed to the short-term plan. And I'm thinking that I need a field that is mostly deforested. I need a field that is definitely not full of rocks in the middle or anything like that, because I certainly would like to automate these processes as I get that second tractor. I could certainly set a tractor to do the mowing for me. That is, and rowing and baling and whatnot. For me, cutting down the trees is not only tiresome, but it's an activity that is keyboard driven. And unlike using the wheel and the other stuff, it's got you hunched over the top of your wheel, and that is so painstaking. On it's tough on the body doing that for hours. So, not a big fan of forestry without proper forestry equipment. So I think before we get to that point where we're cutting down legions of trees, I'm going to want to have significantly better equipment as it relates to doing forestry and actually getting value out of those trees, as opposed to cutting them up to tiny little chunks and losing everything. So, proper forestry equipment, which really doesn't take much. I mean, this tractor with a stump grinder, and then a Ponsse King and a proper trailer. That's all you need. Yeah, you don't have to go overboard. That's what it's going to take for me to buy a field, though, that is primarily forest. So at this point I will only expand and take out the odd tree or two, but not anything major in the short term. Now we glancing at 27. 27 looks like it could be a viable expansion option, and it could come today even. But then again, if we could get 130,000 from this harvest, that already puts me at about 270. And if we start harvesting 26 north and south, I think we should easily have close to 300,000, which means I could have that tractor not only before the end of the day, but as I'm going to replant 26 north and south. Potentially. I don't know if we'll get there. I mean, for one thing, I'm definitely not cutting as much of this field as I did last time. But let's see how much faster we already are. I mean, we're way ahead of the pace of where we were on this field last time around. Just how much am I cutting into the profits? I don't know. For one thing, we're getting some of it back because we're not going around 20, 25 trees. So far we've gone around a single stump. That might be the last one now. So the windrower's not perfect at catching those things, so kind of had to eyeball it for the most part. And as the grass was already growing back, we did miss one, for sure. Maybe more. So forestry, I think, is something I need to get in properly before we start trying to cut down groves of trees. So any field purchase I make, like I said, needs to be essentially clear. Not necessarily of rocks, it just needs to be mostly open, because I'm not going to cut down all the trees to get there. I'll always just go around rocks, and if there are rocks, then I'm definitely not going to put in a farm field later. As we've already discovered 26 North the hard way, how much that complicates trying to use Courseplay, as it doesn't recognize the object detection's not there, and it just crashes into it. Alright, 718. I think 730 comes along. I will slow it back down to times 1 speed, and our long enduring day will kick off properly. Not that we haven't already got a good amount of work in. I'm gonna turn around the opposite direction this time. Clean up this edge a little bit. each of my turns is getting a little bit worse than the one before it because I'm having to go all the way to that end and then pull back. Alright, that's far enough. Slow it down to normal speed. Yeah, before I completely use up this whole episode doing nothing but picking up a stump grinder and doing a few laps around the field. Oh, and I suppose we did spray at least. Let's go ahead and jump over into a time lapse, and we will finish the mow job within the time lapse. And I'll start windrowing at least before we begin the next episode. And that'll just about do her. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. And bye for now.